Israel and Iraq are fighting. The Nigerian president says that they should not come close to their country because they are prepared. Who wants to go and fight Israel? I beg go. You guys should encourage me. Let me keep doing this thing I'm doing. So subscribe, like, and share. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Favor Godwill, and on this channel we talk about everything forensic science. If you're a new subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for coming back again, and I hope to keep seeing you over and over again. So if you come across this video, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to share. You guys should encourage me. Let me keep doing this thing I'm doing. So subscribe, like, and share. Today we are going to be talking about disasters. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to be talking about disaster. But first of all, what is a disaster? A disaster is usually caused by hazards that are triggered by underlying vulnerabilities. I'll take it again. A disaster is usually caused by hazards that are triggered by underlying vulnerabilities. What are these hazards? The first hazard we have can be natural, it can be socio-technological, it can be transport also. An example of these hazards, under natural, we have things such as earthquake, such as tsunami, such as flood, drought, famine, and a lot more. Then under transport, we have things such as road accidents, such as aircraft crash, such as ship capsizing or sinking. And under socio-technological, which is also called man-made, we have things such as war, we have things such as nuclear bombing, we have things such as fire, and a lot more of this type of hazard. What are some of the underlying vulnerabilities that can trigger hazards to cause a disaster? Don't forget that disasters are usually caused by hazards that are triggered by underlying vulnerabilities. So what are these underlying vulnerabilities? We have number one, we have poverty. We have lack of education and training. We have environmental change. We have population expansion. We have limited access to resources. We have economic systems, and there are so many others that are underlying vulnerabilities which can trigger hazards to cause disasters. So I'm sure that some of you have watched TV or watched movies or listened to news, and then you hear something, you hear them say that, oh, it's a mass disaster. But then when do we say that something is a mass disaster? Is it by the number of people involved, the number of casualty, or when exactly do we say that something is a mass disaster? Really, we don't classify a mass disaster by the number of people or number of casualties involved in that incident. So a mass disaster is the occurrence of any incident that exceeds the capacity of the affected community. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say a community that has been having flood over the years. They've been experiencing flood. Flood is not anything new to them anymore. Then they now put measures in place to be able to manage the flood situation. But then one day, all of a sudden, they have an earthquake. So this can be classified as a mass disaster. Or just imagine that during Harmattan season in Nigeria, the normal cold we expect, we just see that we are beginning to experience Canada winter. So how many people are going to be able to cope with that? Very few persons are going to be able to cope with that, because it is not a condition that we are used to. It is not something that we have been trained to manage. Another example is going to be a road accident that involves probably a 20-seater bus or a 50-seater bus. It is not going to be a problem to an urban area, but it's going to be a major problem if that accident happens in a small town, in a rural community, because they don't have the capacity to manage that kind of disaster. Their hospitals may not be equipped to take in 50 persons. Their mortuaries may not be equipped to take in 50 persons. So that is a mass disaster in that situation. I'm going to give another funny example that probably you can relate to more. You've probably seen on Twitter when maybe Israel and Iraq are fighting, or Ukraine-Russia war, and then you will not see something like Nigerian president says that that they should not come close to their country because they are prepared, and then somebody will not make a funny comment like, who wants to go and fight Israel? I better go. So all those kind of things. So that is another example. If a community may be equipped to manage an earthquake or flood, but they may not be equipped to manage war. They may not be equipped to manage hunger, to manage famine, to manage drought. Now I'm going to describe disaster using two examples. One is going to be an aircraft crash and another is going to be an earthquake. So an aircraft crash is a closed disaster that is caused by a transport hazard. It is also a simple emergency. Now this is because it is single, it is contained, there's a passenger's manifest, and all passengers can be accounted for. But the case is going to differ if that plane crashed into a public space. An example of this is going to be the World Trade Center Twin Towers air crash. In an earthquake, the case is entirely different. An earthquake is an open disaster that is caused by a natural hazard. It is also a complex emergency because there is an unknown number of victims and there is no way of knowing exactly who was affected by that incident. There may also be multiple sites of recovery, and it can make victim identification and disaster management difficult due to its widespread impact. In an earthquake disaster management is going to involve recovery of human remains, rescuing survivors, emergency shelter and supplies, providing medical treatment, bereaved services, and victim identification. In an aircraft crash is going to be securing the disaster scene, conducting search and rescue, and these processes are a lot to handle. In our next episode, we are going to talk more about victim identification, disaster victim identification. I want you to keep an eye out for that video, and don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. Thank you very much for watching up to this point. Bye and see you next time.